So I think that we are ready to start the event. So dear ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the panel discussion on global collaboration with higher education to increase financial inclusion, part of the World Business Angel Investor Week. So we are here to explore the critical role of education, incubators and investments in fueling the entrepreneurial success and advancing innovation in the Adriatic region. We are very honored to have esteemed hosts joining us today, each bringing unique perspectives and experience. Sandra Damian, the WBAF Senator for Slovenia, Aleksandar Mastilović, WBAF Senator of Bosnia and Herzegovina, Ivan Jovetic, WBAF Senator for Montenegro, and Aleksandar Celeski, WBAF International Partner for Macedonia. I will invite my colleagues to introduce themselves later on. But first of all, we would like to extend the sincere gratitude to WBF Angel Investment Forum, the affiliated partner of G20 Global Partnership for Financial Inclusion, for organizing this event and creating a platform where key stakeholders really come together to access the power of angel investments as the vital financial tool for boosting economies. I suggest we start with the opening remarks that are delivered by the chairman of WBAF, Mr. Baibars Altuntas. So I will use the opportunity to share my screen with you.
Dear presidents, dear ministers, dear country chairs, and dear participants. Business education and entrepreneurship education have come a long way in the past 2 decades. The mindset of students of entrepreneurship has changed as well and will continue to evolve. More and more business organizations are adopting an entrepreneurial spirit. Even conservative businesses are making it a priority to boost their entrepreneurial energies and promote a culture of creativity and innovation. Most innovative business ideas come from young people. Current and future entrepreneurs and investors need specialized knowledge and highly complex skills to move innovative ideas into the market and ensure they succeed. All this suggests that it is time for higher education institutions to take on a new role. They need to revisit their current business curriculum and expand their offerings to traditional concept of business education into a wider framework that values education, incubation, mentoring, technology transfer, and research and development. With this in mind, the stakeholders of the World Business Angel Investors Week have agreed on the theme for this year's meeting, which will now take place on the 20th of June as global collaboration with higher education to increase financial education. The week aims to contribute to the development of skills and expertise of students and faculty members, right? Assist in the digital transformation of higher education institutions and foster the kind of creative thinking that leads to innovation and eventual success in the ever-changing market environment of the 21st century. During this special day, all stakeholders and participants in the week's events have been paused and reflect on their best journey to analyze why business transformation is needed and how transformation is support entrepreneurship and innovation that boost economies. And to recreate how entrepreneurial ecosystems can create more jobs, more wealth, and more job social justice, operating key players in early stage equity markets in the post-pandemic economy. World Business Angel Investors Week 2023 will feature roundtables that will provide a platform for entrepreneurs, angel investors, and academicians to explore the processes that have been gone through in post-pandemic times. The week will also include discussions on the ongoing challenges entrepreneurial ventures face in integrating the basic knowledge of strategic planning and new consider creative ways to overcome challenges. I would like to thank in advance all the stakeholders and partners who will be contributing to the Work Business Angel Investors Week 2023. They will be highlighting the importance of higher education to increase financial inclusion, the theme of this year's event. I believe to grow and thrive in a post-pandemic world, smooth business transformation into a pandemic-proof organizational model is vital. We are to ensure the sustainability of work economies in the new normal. I would like to thank the organizing committee and the colleagues who will be taking roles as country chairs, global partners, keynote speakers, and panel discussion members. Their combined effort will create value for the work startup economies not only during this year but in the future as well. They will focus on harnessing the collective knowledge of the world's most influential human leaders, policymakers, entrepreneurs, and artists, with a view to addressing critical issues of early-stage equity market in the new normal. The week will also be a great platform for you to campaign for solutions to such critical issues and other worldwide concerns at the United Nations, the European, and G20 countries. The ultimate goal of all of the week's keynotes, discussions, presentations, and workshops is to agree on a common roadmap for entrepreneurs, startups, and SMEs that will enable them to emerge from this pandemic period even stronger than they were before. We encourage all faculty members of higher education, engineers, entrepreneurs, and policymakers to explore the merits of the Work Business Angel Investors Week and take full advantage of its many benefits. I am confident that each participant in Work Business Angel Investors Week will benefit from the collaborative ideas, mobile exchange, training programs, and workshops, and global networking opportunities that are offered. I believe that by working together across borders with a common vision and smart dynamics in mind, we are well placed to bring about positive change in global economy. I also want to invite all of you to join the World Congress of Angel Investors 2023, which will be in Durban of South Africa next November. I wish you great success in your future endeavors, and thank you very much for listening to me. All the best.
Well, thank you, Baybars Altuntas, for sharing. Yeah, somebody is sharing their screen. For sharing these few words. So I would now like to open the floor for the co-hosts of today's event, and I would like to start with Sandra. So please, just few opening words from you and introduce yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, Helena. Just a brief introduction. As you mentioned, I'm a senator for Slovenia, and I'm also a board member of the Global Startup Committee. This year I'm presiding it, and it is absolutely a pleasure to be here to co-host and also to see colleagues at this event. And of course to celebrate together the World Business Angels Investors Week 2023. It was a little bit difficult to hear what Chairman Baybars mentioned, but just to touch bases again with the overall theme, which I think is very important. We focus this year on collaboration with higher education to, of course, increase the financial inclusion, and this absolutely shows how much we're more aware of the need to connect, the entrepreneurs, the academia, and of course the investors. Absolutely, we're coming long ways, but still, given the fact that we live in very challenging times, we still need to do much more. I'm also a professor at the School of Economics and Business at the University of Ljubljana. And I can assure you, as a matter of fact, that the mindset of students, has also changed over the years. They're becoming more and more entrepreneurial, and they, of course, they demand more and more also from us educators as well. But also, when they're developing their business ideas, and we all know that many innovative business ideas come from young people, we need to provide them with more. And all this suggests that the higher education institutions need to take on the new role, entrepreneurs need to take on the new role, and we need to expand our business curricula and the offerings beyond the traditional concepts of business education. At our school, we had for years the incubators, innovation, all-nighters for students, but we definitely need to do more. And I'm happy to see this is happening, and that the World Business Angels Investment Forum is also paying attention to this. And our joint goal should be to contribute to development of skills and expertise of students. And by developing their skills, we also develop our skills, and absolutely we foster the creative thinking. I'm extremely happy to see all of you here, and that we are all coming eventually, the academia, entrepreneurs, investors to sit at the same table. And I wish you definitely successful event today and absolutely throughout the entire week. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. And now moving forward with Alexander Mastilovic.
Thank you, Helena. Welcome and greetings to everyone who decided to join us today to discuss about not only investment, not only entrepreneurship, but also to discuss later about something what we named a smart society and how we can combine business, technology, different stakeholders, government, business, academia, civil society sector, all to work all together actually to help us to fulfill our mission to create smart society. We'll a little bit talk more about smart cities also as a central point and maybe central pillar of smart society, an amazing platform where we can bring all stakeholders easily together to work there. I'm Senator from Bosnia and Herzegovina. I'm also a member of Global Science Technology Innovation Committee at WBAF and also board member at Institute of Electronic Engineers, the world's largest professional organization which is actually famous everyone because standards we are using every day, like Wi-Fi, it's IEEE standard 802.11 or Bluetooth, and many other technological achievements actually are here because of IEEE. So I'm working mostly as engineer, but also I'm looking how to create bridges to all of you here, also to investors, and how to actually support young people and innovative entrepreneurial ideas based on technologies to bring them into real market and help them actually to evolve and become successful companies. So that's from my side. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you, Alexander. I will use the opportunity to ask our colleague Natalia Limonova, joining us from Ukraine, to also say a few words.
Hello, everyone. I'm happy to see you all, and greetings from Ukraine. Today it was a very hard night. We had a missile attack from Russia, but I'm here. It was loud and scary, but I'm happy to share our experience and our knowledge to all of you. And I'm happy that you invite me to this great community. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalia. Sorry to hear about the latest events, but very, very warm welcome to our community. So Ivan Jovetic, going to you.
Thank you very much, Helena, and it's my great pleasure to be here. And first of all, thank you, Sandra, for initiating this second regional cooperation. We had a blast last year, so we will keep continuing. And of course, thank you to Baibar Saltuntash, the chairman, for making this happening all these years. And teşekkür ederim Arbaz Bey. And I think that this community is quite interesting, and I think that this community can do a lot of different things, and it's really my honor again to be part of this event and other WBAF events. I'm Ivan Jovetic, and I'm coming from Montenegro. As dear Helena mentioned, I'm a WBAF senator from Montenegro and Global Startups Committee member. I'm also a lecturer at the University of Donja Gorica, which is the biggest private university in the country, and member of the Arizona State University Alliance. And I'm also an entrepreneur, so this topic is quite appealing to my heart. So I'm looking forward, and not just for this event, but for more other events, because I think that the role of the universities when it comes to sparking the entrepreneurship is tremendous. But we will talk about that in the next panel, and I don't want to take an additional time except to say hello to everyone, and it's my great pleasure to see you with us today, and I'm looking forward to very fruitful talks and discussions, and looking forward to the 2024 event.
Thank you. Ivan, Alexander Zaleski, also our partner.
Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everybody around the world. So we are World Business Angel Forum. This World Business Investor Week is broadcasted all over the world in different time zones. So I want to say hello to everybody who is listening today or who is going to listen the recordings later on. I'm coming from Macedonia, international partner for WBAF for several years, and part of the startup committee also for a few years. Coming from a entrepreneurship background, let's say, all the time in the corporates, running my consultancy company and helping entrepreneurs achieving their goals, helping entrepreneurs, helping startups, connecting them with the right persons, right people on the right place. Sometimes that's some institution who is generating funds. Sometimes that is an institution who is providing education. So everything is going all together. There is no any fact that one thing can be just for itself, and that's why I'm happy today that we can cover this cross-cutting topics that we will have in the next panels, especially in the panel number 1 for today. I hope that everybody will enjoy the panelists, the topics that they will cover, the experience that they will share. Seeing people here from all around Europe, bringing their local but also international experiences and topics that they do. Hopefully that it will be helpful for, as we are saying, our community, second year in a row, doing the Investor Week on a regional level, not just on national level, hopefully to continue many years more. Enjoy the event and have a great day.
Thank you, Alexander. Just a brief introduction. My name is Helena Matusha. I run the WBF Croatia office, still the one and only WBF national office in Europe. I've been working with these wonderful colleagues for the past 4 years. Some of my passions, I would say, is impact investing and initiating this entrepreneurial spark Ivan was talking about among high school students and even higher education students. So I'm very glad that we have the opportunity to talk about this topic on this year's event. So before we start with the first panel discussion, a few of our housekeeping remarks. Just please raise your hand if you want to share your thoughts or engage in the discussion. Please keep yourself muted. while somebody else is speaking. I do invite us all to respect the schedule we have and each other's time, and also feel free to comment in the chat area. So the first panel will be moderated by Ivan Jovetic, and then the second panel, without a break in between, will be moderated by Alexander Mastilovic. So thank you again for joining us all, and I wish you all pleasant 2 hours that we have together. Ivan, please start the panel.
Thank you, Chief Moderator, dear Helena. It's an honor to continue where you stopped. And again, thank you everyone for attending. Welcome to this first panel where we will talk about the links between education and entrepreneurship. As I told you in introduction words, I'm an entrepreneur for the past 17 years, and I have been almost the same period at academia, at a very specific university. And we test a lot of different things. University of Donja Gorica has been founded in 2007, and we did a lot of different things, creating, we don't call it incubators, we call it ideas factory and entrepreneurial nest, different pre-acceleration and acceleration programs, such as Start One Up, sorry. Then we have been creating a stock exchange of entrepreneurial ideas, a real pitch and funding event where students are pitching and the real business community is funding those ideas, and it's in the competition. And in the last couple of years, trust me, we do it on every May of 9th, because that's the day of Europe, and we want to connect these two things. And in the past, I think 7 or 8 years, we had on that May 9th, we had a bigger turnover than the Montenegrin Stock Exchange at the same day. So we are happy about that. We are trying to expand in a different fields, different projects. One of the things that we're currently doing is expanding junior achievement network in Montenegro, because we want to have that spillover effect, like Helena mentioned, to the high school pupils, and try to prepare them for something that will come up to their faculty years. By my opinion, and I'm finishing with that, the role of the universities is to tackle the way how students think. And the best way to, according to my humble opinion, to describe entrepreneurship is, it is a philosophy, it is the way how you see the world, it is the way how you think. And having these two premises next to each other, at least some of us can see a strong correlation between education and entrepreneurship. Unfortunately, things are not that easy, nor they are easily executed. So the successful examples of universities that are sparking entrepreneurial spirit are more exception than the rule. Therefore, I would like to welcome our distinguished panelists that we have today. Ljubka Naumovska from Northern Macedonia, coming from Rene School of Business, an assistant professor. Ljubka, welcome. Then Dimitar Jovevski, coming from Faculty of Economics, associate professor of Kirill and Methodius University, again from North Macedonia. Sasha Spasic, coming from Croatia, an innovation strategist and business development consultant. And Natalia Limonova, coming from Ukraine. She already addressed to us, but she will keep talking in this panel, coming as a founder of GOIS. And dear ladies and dear gentlemen, welcome to this panel. And I have a brief introductory question based on your opinion. How do you, according to your experience, how do you see this, like an intro question, how do you see this potential cooperation between universities and entrepreneurs? What would be the most advisable things, the most common things to do or not to do? I propose to go to the same in the same order like it's in the agenda. So Ljubka, the floor is yours, then Dmitar, Sasha, and Natalia, if this is okay with you. If not, you can skip or you can aggregate the questions. So the only thing we have to do is to finish at 4. Ljubka, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Ivan, for this nice introduction. And thank you, Alexander Zelensky, for inviting me to this so needed forum and urgent panel, I would say, and for giving me the opportunity to speak with you, to share and exchange. The question is, probably we are late discussing on that. I think the industry and the education should have started collaborated at least 2 decades ago. Not that they haven't, but not to the level that especially the new generations deserve to. So if you're hearing some sounds from the background, I cannot remove my dog from the room. So it will be just a nice part.
If he or she is an entrepreneur, it's fine.
She's French, so no. She's very comfortable in her French lifestyle. So let me share my screen so I can visualize my thoughts if possible. Okay. Okay. And let me know if I'm doing the thing right. I haven't used Zoom for a while. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Wonderful. So as I mentioned, I'll be happy to talk on this topic, but I will answer the question in the next 5 minutes by structuring the answer into several chapters. What is the issue about the educational system now? What are the competencies approach that is as approach as a system is highly used in Western Europe, especially in France. It's not a suggestion, but it's actually an obligation now. The mindset of the new generation of students, the importance of interdisciplinarity, but also intersectorality. And I'm going to mention a few things about how REN School of Business has been advancing in its teaching innovation and what kind of activities have taken the school being highly ranked in the European rankings for business schools. As I mentioned, as you introduced me nicely, I am Ljubka Rumovska. I'm Macedonian, but I live for the last 3 years in France, more precisely in Rennes. And these are my thoughts on the educational system. I think it's been highly dominated by 2 major factors. The mindset of Gen Z and the technological revolution that has been changing medicine, has been changing the way we talk, has been changing the way we order food, has been changing across all industries, more or less, and certainly has been tackling the educational system. But in order to respond well, the educational system, especially the higher educational system, has already introduced several changes. First of all, learning by doing, or practice-centered learning, where even in the curriculum, even in the syllabi, companies, enterprises are being more and more involved. When I say company enterprises, I don't refer to use cases by books by Coca-Cola and Nike, but I'm referring to small companies, middle-sized companies, struggling companies, rebranded companies, even startups that are part of the curriculum. More and more critical thinking has been encouraged, flipped classrooms, debates, teamwork, especially gamification, and the more use of apps and tools. This is leading me to the next point, which is very typical for the French educational system in higher education. It is no longer, there is no option to choose even selective courses now. If you want to study master in France, probably you will not be left to have elective courses. And the answer why is because it is the government / the industry and their updated reports who give us the hints what are the required skills on the market. So those kind of skills are being called competencies. They are transformed into learning objectives. Out of the learning objectives, we are quantifying them into EKTS plus hours as usual. But then we are breaking it down into skills, learning topics that are being measured by actual exams. Within the exams, there will be instruments for measurement of the competencies. So at the end, it is not the selection of the professor, not the program director, not even the dean, what kind of courses and what will be taught in the courses. It is the selection of an institution called France Compétences, or competencies, institution for competencies, that is updated and it's measuring the competencies across all industries, and it's indicating if you want to have your diploma certificated, if you want to have a double D diploma, or if you want to enjoy the highest standards in education, you need to respect the competencies approach. That provides for sure a logical learning journey that lowers the level of overlaps, lowers the level of theory, especially frameworks and models that are outdated, and really focuses the learning into something that is at this moment required. As you can imagine, this is not often well accepted by all professors. Educational people who work in education, especially the PhDs, do have an ego that doesn't kind of line up with this system, but we're in the process of transformation. But I can tell you for sure, I've been working on this for 2 years and it's absolutely amazing. I'm also, I'm not only professor of marketing in the Rennes School of Business, but I'm also the program director of one of the master programs, if not the biggest one. And we have been doing this for 2 years, and our level of employability of students immediately after graduation, which means immediately 6 months, is at this point 96%. So the system is beyond incredible. The following topic that I mentioned briefly at the beginning will be definitely, we cannot continue talking about education and entrepreneurship without mentioning the mindset of the new generation of students. As Sandra mentioned at the beginning, and Ivan as well, we're definitely in a time zone where the new generation is bringing a lot of new characteristics, is introducing new chapters in life, is dealing with different kinds of communication between them and with us. They are extremely tech savvy. They have extremely high IQ, maybe the highest ever measured in the history of humankind. But at the same time, with a very poor emotional intelligence, very poor reading habits, very short attention span, which can be afterwards tackled with gamification as a tool that a lot of business schools and universities are currently using it in the curriculum. And finally, this guides me to the next slide, which confirms the topic of this panel, which means that we are in the stage where we need to do not only interdisciplinarity in the level of university, but also intersectorality, where we should absolutely merge the governmental work, the industry, the academia, but also the NGOs at the same level. And so we can produce one blended, flourishing, and successful educational system. What is impacting this intersectorality? Of course, the technology, ChatGPT, the TikTokization of brands. Even the most serious brands went to TikTok. We have to acknowledge these movements. The power of the influencers, not only the celebrities and the macro influencers, but also the power of the micro influencers. The time spent on social media that hasn't been lowered since the biggest peak of COVID in 2020. We have to acknowledge this stuff. And we have to sit down and confirm that absolutely everything is connected with everything, and we're all slowly but surely becoming programmers. On the level of the school, that, by the way, has been claimed to be the most international business school in Europe in 2019 and 2016, and we're trying to get the same certification for this year. We have over 70 nationalities in the campus. More than 90% of the professors are non-French. We have 5 research centers, 18 master programs, bachelor program, of course, but also we have postdoc and PhD. And the school is being accredited by AMBA, by EQUIS, and AACSB. So this is what we normally do to merge, to create intersectorality and to innovate the teaching methods and to increase entrepreneurship across students. One thing I was just reading before joining this meeting is that when we talk about the entrepreneurial mindset, there's a huge difference how entrepreneurs are growing on Eastern Europe and Western Europe. So there is a big difference in we are becoming entrepreneurs out of necessity or out of opportunity. So knowing that I am currently speaking on the behalf of Western European country, I must say that here, it is an entrepreneurial country for sure, but the anxiety that I could experience myself, because I was an entrepreneur in Macedonia too for almost 10 years, it doesn't exist. People here become entrepreneurs to achieve more than they already have. In Eastern Europe is typically, and the entrepreneurial mindset is being born by necessity, often by a necessity. Also, the statistics shows that the gender gap for the entrepreneurs in Western Europe is lower than in Eastern Europe. So there is a significant difference in the reasoning why people become entrepreneurs, how they grow their enterprise or company in future, And there's a further questions of equality and inclusion. In order to encourage entrepreneurial mindset, but also to involve innovation into our teaching, we are by default involving serious games as a part of the curriculum. We are avoiding teaching by big and boring company cases like Nike, Coca-Cola, Adidas, and Decathlon, but we are involving case studies by startups, companies that failed or almost failed, small companies, middle-sized companies, local companies, sometimes companies who are struggling or companies who do not have, let's say, budget for marketing. So the students will work a project for them. As per demand by the students, we are involving the reality into the classroom by avoiding boring and outdated case studies by the book. On another note, we are strongly encouraging student-to-student mentoring, which is now becoming a very structural form. As students are coming from different backgrounds and different skills generated in their previous education, we have to acknowledge that there is a huge skill gap when it comes to master, especially in marketing or any other very niche program. We are involving introduction of programming into absolutely every program. Marketing, finance, management, organization, geopolitics, they all study programming now. Of course, there is already since 3-4 years ago system for online or hybrid learning, which is not only letting students to see the session afterwards. They can be involved as they're in the classroom. There is coded simulation applications, especially for stock exchange markets. There is a huge collaboration, not only with companies, but also NGOs, especially NGOs dedicated for Ukrainian refugees at this point. And of course, with official partnerships with local and international companies, as per my case, marketing agency, who have obligation to dedicate a certain number of hours and time for being with the students in the classroom. And last but not least, we have introduced Incubator, I think in 2018, I'm not so sure, sorry, 2014, that is called InnoStar. And I will be more involved in this project starting from September, but it's working quite well. And it's encouraging students to propose the ideas to the incubator. The incubator is accepting only 10 solutions per year and is nurturing them basically from zero and scratch. And it's being part of one of the master programs for now, but now it's extending to all other master programs. So I will be finishing now and let Dimitar and the other people in the panel mention their opinion, but I will be happy to take questions either now or later. And I'm a strong believer in gamification. So I'm going to close the speech with this wonderful, wonderful saying by Albert Einstein, who said, play is the highest form of research, and it certainly is. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you very much, especially for the last quote and all the things you shared with us. Dimitar, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ivan. It is a pleasure to be here. And Mr. Zilewski, thank you for the invitation to be part of the World Business Angel Forum. Greetings to everybody, to all the ambassadors and all who are watching us. My name is Dimitar Zilewski. I'm coming from Faculty of Economics. I'm associate professor there, where I teach digital marketing, social media marketing, design, and web. And my faculty is a part of one big university, the biggest in the country, the highest ranked in the country, which is 74 years old, with a lot of units inside. I'm coming from a typical old school, old type of university. I'm not coming from applied science university or a business school. And in my case, compare what Luca mentioned before, we have different challenges regarding even to your question, how to bring closer the entrepreneurs to the university, or how to integrate the entrepreneur mindset in the university syllabus, curricula, and so on and so back. Since I mentioned that I'm coming from a really big, really bureaucratic university, there is a lot of challenges that we need to overcome in order to implement all the let's say all the fast moving all the fast-moving changes that are around us from a learning point of view, where the education or also the knowledge is becoming obsolete after a few years, depending of the field we are talking about. From one side, on the other side is to, let's say, to make the infrastructure of a university big as mine, to be flexible and agile in order to implement different types of programs. So on a level of on a university level, I can say that we have 3 centers for technology transfers on a different units. One accelerator, founded 2019. It's called Business Accelerator. One incubator, which is far more older than this accelerator. And we have 3 different laboratories that are for fabrication and for testing some ideas. That's something on a university level, but speaking for my faculty, which is the uni is a part of that university. As addition on this, we have since 2020 we open a Yonus Center, a center for social entrepreneurship. We're doing a lot of different things regarding to incorporate the entrepreneurial mindset, bringing closer entrepreneurship to the education and the students. From a point of view, what you even ask as a question, how we can do, or how I believe that is the right way. We need to make or to align the entrepreneurial mindset or entrepreneurs from the business sector close to the university since yesterday. So it's a must. It's not a question. It's something that is need to be happening on a daily basis. That's really important due to the fact, I completely agree with Luca, based on the mindset of the generation, the Z generation that we are educating at the moment, and also what regarding the technology is evolving around us. So we don't have time to lose, and we need to be proactive and agile in order to make that thing closer. What we are doing from our perspective at my faculty, we have one center for social entrepreneurship, where each year we have 5 hackathons where we are taking some small companies. They want to do some social entrepreneurship, and the students are developing ideas for their problems and presenting in front of them, and they have receiving some awards in order to start together with those companies to generate something. On the other hand, due to the as some of previous panelists mentioned, and also I think Sandra mentioned at their university, if you're defending some kind of accreditation as a university, you need to make your curriculum according to that accreditation, and you need to have a real case insight, business cases. You need to have a lot of involvement from companies and the business sector in the curriculum. And in Macedonia is the case that we have a law that every student from the second year of their studying, then they are obliged to have an internship at least 1 month in order to sign up for the next semester. Without that, they cannot sign up for the next semester. All those measures, all those activities are bringing entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship mindset close to the students. But that's not enough. On the other side, myself as a associate professor, but also as an entrepreneur, I have a company which is up and running for more than 10 years with 50+ employees. We need to work constantly on with the young generations in order to make closer to them all the opportunity they can use, especially in the early stage of development of one startup. I'm talking about pre-seed phase. I'm talking about pre-incubation phase. So all those aspects, we need to make them ready to make them legible, how to write a business plan, how to create something in order to go to the next phase, to go to some incubator, to go some accelerator, when to apply for funds, and to see the light of the day as entrepreneurs. That's something that is happening through the formal channels in my country, at my university, and sometimes we are really good in that, but sometimes we are lacking or missing something, and we need to work more on that side, something that I think is really important to establish entrepreneur mindset from the beginning. And I will close my expose with a few thoughts that I'm at the university for, I think, more than 15 years. And I'm in love with the entrepreneurship mindset from the beginning. And each year, at 1st of October, when I meet with the students, and each year there are 300 plus students at my lectures, ask them, please raise your hand. How many of you are going after finishing? I'm starting in the second year of my lectures, second year students, and I ask my students from those 300, how many of you are going to start your own business after finishing the university? 15 years ago, at least, I don't know, 20%, maybe max up to 30% will raise the hand. This year, actually last year, sorry, when I asked them, more than a half, maybe 60-70% raise the hand that they will start their own business after finishing it. So that's exactly what Ljubka also mentioned. I think Sandra touched in the beginning, that we need to work with those students and to encourage them through the formal education process to plant a seed in their minds about entrepreneurship and what they should do and how to continue with their business, with their career after finishing university. So thank you for this opportunity and my time, and I will pass the ball to the next speaker.
Thank you very much. Sasha, the floor is yours.
Thank you. My name is Sasha Spasic. I'm coming from Croatia. I'm innovation strategist and brand strategist. I'm focused mostly on differentiating strategies for developing companies and for corporations. I'm doing mostly business in the sense that I'm helping C-level executives to design and execute better strategy, resonate with real bank customers. I have a good educational background. I'm curious about everything that's happening all around the world and have almost 40 different certifications and several MBA studies. And regarding the question, the strong partnership, in my opinion, between entrepreneurs and academia can create a virtuous cycle of innovation and success, driving economic growth and societal progress. And we can see a potential for fostering innovation and entrepreneurial success in several fields and several ways. That's mostly that academia often leads frontier of theoretical research, while entrepreneurs are the guys who are doing that excel in practical implementation. So university and research institutions can offer mostly fresh, innovative ideas and concepts as theories, while entrepreneurs can translate them into actionable, marketable products or services or new businesses. Another thing that is universities can provide substantial access to resources, including labs, cutting-edge technologies, intellectual capital. So entrepreneurs can leverage these resources for their businesses. It's also important that entrepreneurs can find young and passionate, highly educated, talented people from all over the universities. That is a sense of talent acquisition. Collaborations may also include experienced academics who have deep domain expertise that is valuable to the entrepreneurial ventures. It's also in the sense that you can easily find funding, and collaborating with an established academic institution can enhance some kind of entrepreneur's credibility. That can be much easier to attract investors or create partnerships as securing funding. Entrepreneurs can tap also into the broad network of academia, which often includes alumni, faculty, industry professionals, other entrepreneurs, all kind of networking people and opportunities, because students can be highly motivated to make more startups today than ever before, because everything is different almost every 10 years. 10 years ago, it wasn't possible as today, that everything mitigated online, and we have more than ever digital platforms and online schools, online courses, and everything is much more online than before because of technology and possibilities. Also, many universities can run incubators and accelerators to nurture startups, offering resources like mentorship programs, workshops, seed fundings, and other different opportunities. And it's important, in my opinion, that we can talk about many different educational programs that it can be possible to develop with entrepreneurs for their real market needs, and to know the customer better and the process better, and to give entrepreneurs what the real business demand is. That's my opinion in short.
Sorry, I was muted. Sorry again. Thank you, Sasha, very much. Natalia, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ivan. Hi, everyone again. I introduced myself as Ukrainian, but didn't mention about my experience. I'm a founder of Impact EdTech Startup Global Innovative Online School. From the other side, I'm a mentor for startups in EO Business Incubator from the USA. Also, I'm a board member of STEM Coalition. I think you know what is STEM, Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. And also, I'm a board member of WBAF Global Startup Committee. And I have 23 years of entrepreneurship experience and founded several businesses, our family business, and then the network of offline private schools in Ukraine. And I have 2 successful exits, and I'm happy to share my experience to other people. I want to start from the role of education in general. Otto von Bismarck said that wars are not won by generals, but by school teachers and priests. And I agree with him. All you know that a bloody war is going on in Ukraine against an evil state that is trying to destroy Ukrainians and occupy our lands. But even under such conditions, even after tonight, when more than 30 missiles and drones were launched at our peaceful cities, even under all these conditions, about 2,000 Ukrainian teachers and educators will meet tomorrow in Ukrainian city Lviv to discuss the modernization of our educational system, because we understand the importance of this. The question of entrepreneurship education will be the one of the agenda. Ukraine now support the development of the startup ecosystem. Our Vice Prime Minister of Education and Digital Transformation see Ukraine as an innovative and technology hub of Europe in nearest future. Our state Ukrainian Startup Fund is the biggest investor in Ukrainian startups. We have already brought to the world 5 unicorns, 2 decacorns, and 8 prospective unicorns. And I think we will continue to develop such great companies. And I sincerely believe in entrepreneurship mindset. Thank you, Luca, for your mention of gamification and modern type of education. I'm ambassador of such type of education. I know that our kids were born in the digital age and they are completely uninterested in old school materials. They can't focus their attention for more than 1 minute in a row. That's why gamification, animation, and the learning by doing, learning by playing is the best way to create new entrepreneurs in globally, not only in our country. And our startups now can show the example of resilience. Because we are not only survived during the war, we scale our projects to the international markets. Last year, I participated and visited more than 8 countries with our digital educational platform and share our experience to all entrepreneurs. And I'll be happy to share it with you. Thank you again for inviting me.
It's me again. Thank you very much. We've been very fruitful. So we have 4 minutes left for this panel. If I can ask one more question for you in these remaining 4 to 5 minutes, just giving me a one element briefly, if you can pick just one element for a very fruitful and efficient cooperation between universities and entrepreneurs, what it would be? Just one element. And briefly, of course. Ljubka.
Can you paraphrase the question?
Just one element, very short, one element that is the most beneficial for cooperation between universities and entrepreneurs.
I would say proactive and entrepreneurial-minded professors like Dimitar, for example. If the professors do not have the mindset of entrepreneurs, they don't have to be necessarily entrepreneurs. It's extremely difficult to play the both games. So, but they have to have the mindset. Otherwise, nothing will work. Not governmental projects, not NGO projects, not your projects. So, I would say entrepreneurial mindseted professors.
Thank you very much. Dimitar, even though she somehow announced you're in line.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I don't have problem with the mindset. So for me, that's granted. I would say agile approach for the both sides. That's really important. Beside mindset, which is important, but also to be flexible, adjustable, use every opportunity because everything is really fast changing and the entrepreneurship cannot wait for approval of some government and so on.
Thank you very much. Sasha, what's your one pick? First at the draft. Just the mic.
I'm sorry. I'll bet on the mentorship program that will educate startups or somebody that go to market and test on the real buying customer, whatever business or products or whatever you have to test, that you get real feedback as soon as possible, and that you can fail fast, fail cheap, and fail forward. And that is the most important in my opinion, because if you are losing time or money, or you invest a year or 2 years for something that will fail on market in weeks or days, or in best way months, so you're misallocating your resources and you're doing the things wrong. So it's go-to-market strategy that real buying customers and the market feedback is the most important thing in my opinion.
Thank you very much. Natalia, your first pick.
I think that collaboration between academia and industry should be increased. Businesses and corporations should be encouraged to invest in researchers and implementation of this, and to give real tasks to students. I can call it dual education, learning by doing.
Thank you. I have just 1 minute to wrap it up. That's one of my favorite things to do when it comes to moderation, because it shows whether I was listening to you or not. But let's hope I was quite a good listener to you. From my point of view, the things you have said can be wrapped up for a couple of topics, and I will give that as a form of potential conclusion. So networking is a must. Both sides must be flexible, must do things fast and cheap, like Sasha said at the end. We must have real life cases and market testing all the time present. We must have a mindset on both sides, especially including professors, because they are the ones that can or cannot spark the thing. Then there is a necessity that both sides need to learn from each other, entrepreneurs from education, or educators and educators from entrepreneurs. Then students must test entrepreneurship, whether in the forms of companies and internships, or by my opinion, more favorably in the forms of their own startups that will comprehend all things that you mentioned. One of the two last things. First, the necessity from both sides to understand the needs and the mindset of new generation. And of course, the last but not least, the mindset and readiness to play all the time. Thank you, Ljubka, for sparking this play element. And dear ladies and dear gentlemen, it was my sincere pleasure to have you on this panel, and thank you very much for it. And I'm now exactly at 4 o'clock passing the floor to our dear Alexander Mastilovic to continue with panel number 2. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ivan. Actually, we can continue. I have to just to clarify, unfortunately, 2 of my panelists are not able to attend today, so we will actually redesign our scenario and format of discussion. But I'm pretty sure that my colleague David and we can actually carry the key takeaways from the topic on smart cities and smart society, because it's not something what is so difficult to explain. I just want to use this opportunity to explain a little bit the meaning of smart, because we are very common the victims of marketing, and many things actually are named with prefixes smart, what is actually not true. For the very beginning, I want to cite the Andre Enge, who said that actually in these ages of incoming actually artificial intelligence, it's not who has the best algorithm that wins, it's who has the most data, and everything is about gathering data from different sources. We can do it using sensors to deploy massive amount of sensors in our cities, in our factories, in our home appliances, actually in our buildings, to collect data, to analyze, segment this data, to find some cross correlations, to find causalities between different values of parameters, and then we can find some additional value, additional knowledge, and then we can support actually decision making to optimize research usage, to optimize our processes, not only in the cities, but also in villages, in everyday life. Smart cities and smart society is not only about technology. Everyone who believes that that technology can solve all our problems, actually, that person doesn't understand actually what is technology and what kind of challenges we are facing right now in the world. So for any topic, including smart societies and smart cities, it's very important to check 3-layer model for everything what we want to discuss today. Its first thing is technologies. We have to be sure that we have technology to carry on the problem and the vision how we can solve our problems. Then it's operational level as a second one. Operational level is always about business, about capexes, about opexes, about these things. because we always have to bring money together with technological solutions to see if we can find a proper place for investment and for entrepreneurial action. And then, of course, the third layer may be a little bit sensitive, but it's political level, because it's not only about political decision making, but also about legislation and regulation and policies related to new technologies and data gathering. So all of you are aware, I'm pretty sure, about GDPR and protection of personal information. Then it's very important to understand limitations of artificial intelligence, and we need to be very ethical in artificial intelligence applications. We are witnesses of chat GPT, let's say, breakthrough, and I think this year in technological world is colored by chat GPT. But just to be clear, it's nothing super new, but it's for the first time, it's something what is bring it to the people, regular people, non-engineering people, some tools like that. I saw these things many years ago, but in some closed environments, data centers, etc. So smart society, smart cities, this is some very short introduction, but I also would like to invite my colleague David Pavlovsky to join me here in this discussion. I believe that we will discuss in some kind of fireside chat. You can ask me, I can ask you. It's going to be more dynamic and more interesting for our audience. So I would like to hear your thoughts on these topics, and of course you can ask me as well as I can ask you about how we actually see this. And I also want to invite everyone actually to ask us and to create a little bit more dynamic discussion in this panel, because it's very, very fruitful topic for all of us. David, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here. So basically, I would like first introduce myself. So we're within the concept of smart cities. So basically, our idea is to solve the currently unsolved problem of last mile. So basically, we're doing the logistics. As we already know that it's almost impossible to change the layout of the cities. It's impossible to change the infrastructure of the cities. So that's why we decide to use the current or existing infrastructure in order to solve one of the biggest pain in the logistics. So it's called last mile. How we do it? So basically, we are using the current infrastructure of people who are on every corner of the city and give them an opportunity, like Uber, to deliver items within the cities. So basically, we're using people mobility to deliver items at the endpoint. The concept of smart cities, it's a part we are engaged. So basically, we are doing that in several CE cities, as we would like to show that that will be transitional period. So it's impossible to put robot droids and everything and to change the layout. It requires enormous investment, and those cities like we are living, these old cities, are not built for this kind of efficiency, but we would like to do. Maybe the new cities like Neom or others, it will be built in that efficient way, and it will be optimized for this kind of things. So so the concept itself is completely correlated with the people habits. So in our industry currently, the number of parcels or the volumes of parcels are doubled every 2 years, which means that it will become a huge problem for the current infrastructure of the city. So that's why it requires great technology, but as you already mentioned, the data is most important, because in our case, it's the same. It's not about the algorithm itself, it's about the data or the relevance of the data what we are collecting. So we are collecting every single data, like habits, like purchasing power, like parcels, type of people who are ordering or delivering or sending parcels. So that will help the most, especially for the urbanization of the cities, of the other part of the cities, because if you know that this kind of supply or demand is happening in some part of the city, then you will develop that kind of city. If you need or you have some kind of bottleneck, you can solve that bottleneck because we will have the relevant data. So that's our input in that smart city concept. And yeah, there are other things which can be on the next phase. So basically, we are thinking about building the the technology based or building the hardware like droids and drones, and that require IoT, which is a crucial part of smart city because it needs interconnectivity. Basically, you need to transfer data in some ways.
I would like to ask you about, do you have any already implemented solution? And I also want to ask you about which kind of data and parameters you find relevant for decision-making process in your application, because I'm pretty sure that actually the prefix smart is always about data, metering, and application advanced mathematical algorithm on collected data like artificial intelligence, machine learning, things like that. So maybe you can share some use case if you have something, and maybe some feedback if you can from that implementation, or if not, do you have anything in planned actually soon to deploy or to pilot somewhere? Do you have issues and challenges to find financing for that? And maybe your experience from contact local administration, do you have support? I'm very interested if local administration understands actually potential benefits from a smart city application. Just your experience from the field.
Yeah. So basically, the reality what we are facing, especially in Southeast Europe, is that there is very hard access to finance, especially in these stages where you don't have a viable product. Now we have, because we are working 3 years, and we are not working only in Skopje, Macedonia. We have worked in Croatia. We have worked with the biggest post in Croatia. It's French post. It's DPD. So we worked 1.5 years there. And now we are working here in Macedonia with 4 biggest companies in their vertical. So basically, we're working with biggest pharmaceutical companies called Zegin, which were present in Serbia as well. We have worked now with Tikveš, and we are now working with Ananas. We will start work with Ananas, the biggest e-commerce. So basically, yeah, we have a perfect use case, and the data we are collecting, the most relevant data from the standpoint of why or are the people now prepared to receive parcels for a person who is not branded? It's yes, because we have already delivered 10,000 parcels, and we've seen that that's not an obstacle. The most important decision-making point or data which is needed for the people is that the availability of the product first, and second, how fast it will come to your doorstep. So we are now trying to like educate people that it's impossible if there's a high density of parcels or the enormous volume of parcels, the doorstep is not the reliable option like they are used to, because the optimization of the last mile delivery until today was made only next day delivery. So whatever you're ordering, not only Macedonia, everywhere in the world, everything is the next day. It's not the same day. We are pushing towards by using our technology to make delivery of parcel in less than 30 minutes on the areas which that is possible, or as fast as possible. So until now, we have succeeded to reach the framework of 2-hour delivery, which is great. So the relevance, the point is that the people outside are not as they are. Look, it's a like conventional wisdom that people are expecting that people are trying to make errors. No, it's not like that. So people are very fair. Almost the people which are delivering items are not prone to steal the items. They're not like used to make big errors, which means that now it's come a time that the ordinary people or the crowdsource can be engaged in these deliveries of parcel, which is perfectly good for us, for the concept what we are trying to provide. And I think that the biggest like influence on that has the Airbnb or Uber, when you're driving with someone you don't know, or you are leaving ghosts in some apartment on the person you don't know. So that's by a stranger equal danger have been overcome, even though in here in Southeast Europe, which is great. The data points which are relevant for us, it's the type of parcels which are delivered. We find out that like almost the same size which are delivered by Amazon. So I will give some data. All Amazon have delivered approximately 7.5 billion parcels every single year. 86% of the parcels on Amazon platform are below 3 kilos, and on the distance short than 3 kilometers, which means that the density of the city is very important. And that's why we have tried, or we are now delivering by the most common, or the ways which are more focused on green, like walk, bike, or scooter. So we are forcing people and incentivize them.
It's perfect. Actually, that's a great story. It sounds very optimistic, and I didn't know actually for your project, and I'm so glad to hear that actually something like that happening here in the Balkan area, because usually I see these things piloting somewhere, usually in the United States, even not in Europe. So it's very great to hear that actually we become this advantage. Level of technology application in urban areas, and actually improving the urban experience and urban living at all. So I will also, I'm also inspired by your talk, and I will share some one use case I delivered in East Sarajevo, actually in 2016. Maybe a few years before most of people start talking in this area about smart cities. I used the opportunity that at that moment I was in USA working at the Radnička University. So I had the opportunity actually to collaborate on some smart city project from the perspective of smart city as the best application and best business proof of concept for 5G deployment. Actually, my primary research and science part of my career was related to 5G, but 5G is very expensive project, not only about macro base station, but also most of you, I'm pretty sure you're aware that actually 5G architecture considered that we need to deploy many micro cells, something similar like Wi-Fi access points every 100, 200 meters, working on microwave bands like 24 gigahertz in Europe or 72 gigahertz in USA, with very possibility to reach actually fiber optic feed rates to transfer that we are able actually to transfer HD or 4K TV multimedia or real-time gaming, but also to support billions of sensors, very high density deployed sensors in small areas. Actually, we need microcells. So what I did here with very limited infrastructure in Bosnia, of course, it was smart lighting. That was actually a small pilot project funded by European Union Committee of Regions. It was part of Green Growth Fund, actually mostly focused on energy efficiency. What we decided actually to decrease the light pollution in urban areas and also to save some energy, because as all of you are aware that public lights actually emitting 100% power even in night, not pedestrians, no cars, especially in some residential areas out of city centers. So no tourism activity, no parties, nothing. We are spending energy, and actually we are disturbing biodiversity, natural cycles of sleeping, we are disturbing animals, plants, everything. So we decide to define the problem, how to actually decrease the power in few steps, but also to minimize the number of power transitions, because actually every transition damaging bulbs and actually causing another kind of cost. So we want to check actually the habits of people during different part of years. Actually, in summer, people walking a little bit longer than in winter, you know, daylight is longer, many different things, weekends versus work days. And then we collect pretty significant amount of data for analyzing, and at the end of story actually, and at this pedestrian area, we optimize the system to save actually 49% of energy. After 6 months, algorithm actually becomes stable, and we are currently now saving approximately 50% of the energy. So that was just the purpose for actually the purpose of this project was to create a proof of concept to help us actually to convince local administration, local decision makers to invest, because return of investment is without any risk. It's just depending on the energy price at stocks, and the return of investment is between 1 to 4 years. But of course, for the government sector, return of investment is not the critical goal. Actually, objective is to provide the best services to citizens the best as possible, of course. And this is something what could be a great business model for further investment. I also would like to underline the opportunity, for example, to launch smart waste management what is actually the basic point to start recycling and circular economy, to motivate people to recycle, to organize some kind of gamification, to give citizens some kind of awards. If you recycle, you will get some, I don't know, points, city points, and then when you collect, I don't know, 10 city points, maybe you can use these points for free public transportation ride or free parking or etc. etc. So this is some closed circle economies in the urban areas, but we can actually involve the broader audience. I would like to hear from you also how you see your project, your ideas, how you can bring more people inside, how you can motivate people to become the part of this vision for smart cities and smart society. How to motivate them actually.
Yeah, so basically every single new things, because we are now making new things. So basically we're trying to innovate in this direction. So we've seen that the only way, or the only possible way from the commercial standpoint, is that to incentivize people to do something, at least to taste for the first time. And then if they like, probably they will like, and if they understand the value or the additional value as creating the smart city concepts, which are helping the community, basically will bring us more people on the outside, on our side. We as a marketplace business model currently are focusing on the left side. So basically we are engaged, our all things, what we are doing, every single feature we are making is to make as much as possible to be seamless process, and as in order to persons who will onboard on our platform to make as much as possible money with the less as possible effort. So that's the idea. So basically, when you're making the commercial marketplace business model, you have to choose either your supply or demand side. Uber on the side on the drivers, we are on the side on deliverers. So basically, that's the idea. So at the end, what we've seen here, we are very pleased to say that in Macedonia, which is completely weird, but I think that Telecom Macedonia is very advanced, because most of the new features of 5Gs have been tested first in Macedonia or these small countries. So we are super advanced in that term. We don't have features, or we don't have services which are using that 5G, but I think that they have now implemented the first testing after Zurich and what I've seen Tokyo. So those are the first two, and we are the third city which have implemented the 5Gs. And I think in the broad range, or in the US way, so I think the most advanced of what I really like the concept is the Helium Mobile. I think that you have heard of. So basically Helium Mobile is trying to engage normal people like us, so the crowdsource people, to put that kind of routers in order to become the density what you need in order to reach that 5G capacity for the future applications or services which will require, especially in the urban areas. And yeah, we are engaging not only in software, we are now doing in the other thing which is called the hardware. So the software and the hardware are completely built for servicing two main or to solving two main problems which are now happening. In the last mile logistics, we have two problems. The first problem, and the capacity problem, means that there is not enough delivery people who can deliver that enormous growth of parcels. And the second thing is out of home mode. So people are not at home. So basically, because the logistics thing are the oldest industry. So previously the woman stays at home, the male works. So basically there is always someone who can receive parcels. Nowadays, there's no one at home. So basically we're building super smart parcel lockers, which will be placed around the city. So we are now have the 3 testing places, and we will expand that. So and the next generation, or the next way, will be to have droids. So basically the droids to come in your doorstep and deliver parcels. So there are many things happening, and I think that the local government or governments here in Southeast Europe completely don't understand the novelty things. So basically, because we live in traditional place where deploying of capital means immediate capital gains and immediate return of investment, which is possible, especially if you're innovating. So basically, if you would like to try to do things which have never been done, of course, that will be a different type of risk takers, or capital at risk, it's called. We don't have access to that. We are working we are working with the other VCs which are in Europe, and now we're focusing on US, because our business model requires capital intensive rounds, which will lead us to make a perfect product, not only for here Southeast Europe. Southeast Europe we are using as a testing environment, because as I said, it's not prepared for this kind of technology,
but
which requires
you have a clear business case actually behind, because as you said that actually there is a chronic lack of delivery people, and actually the problem with nobody at home situations for delivery service. So it's pretty clear business case, if I can see, for your application.
Yeah, so of course. So basically, you incentivize people in order to do deliveries. So that's the only way. That's the only way at this moment. So yeah, those green points or giving additional value to their deliveries, all these kind of features, which will keep them in the marketplace. It's not hard still here because we don't have big competition like huge players. Because in the other cities, like if you're, for example, in Europe, there are several prepared food delivery companies which are chasing for the same type of people. So those are the people who are willing to deliver parcels to the cities. Here in Macedonia, we don't have still a problem, but we've seen that in other cities, yeah, of course, there's a huge problem because if there's a couple of competitors, then you're fighting with them, or you need to be the best in terms of incentivize them to be on your platform instead of to other company in the platform economy.
Perfect. Actually, I will try to go to closer to the end of our discussion, because as I said, we have a shorter number of people, and maybe it could be a great idea. But I also want to discuss with you, do you see opportunity how your business case and your ideas can actually engage some advanced technologies which are coming? Actually, I will just tell you a few of them. Of course, I discussed already about 5G, because 5G is already in deployment phase, but also 6G is coming, and the biggest novelty in 6G will be distributed processing of data already at the base stations, closer to the sensors and application, not in the core of the network, but actually will decrease the latency and improve total performance of the network, what is critical for real-time application like self-driving cars or remote surgeries and telemedicine, and etc. etc. So also we can talk about cloud and edge computing. We can talk about remote data centers, but in a little bit more advanced way than we have right now, because for now, for regular use and data center, something what is related to Dropbox or Google Drive, but it's not real time actually processing what we need for some advanced applications. I would also remind you of other potential application in smart cities, like smart public transportation, permanent counting of passengers, optimization of bus, trams, subways, routes, because bus can change route if it's necessary, if something's changing in the city. Like, for example, if we have a big football match, like for example, it's happening in Belgrade few times per year between Partizan and Zvezda. Actually, you need to change actually the public transportation, because huge amount of people going to the same point actually, and there is no sense actually to keep the lines fixed, because it's not the same that day and other days. This is just the basic example, just to be clear to everyone here. It's typical graph theory problem, and you can apply, of course, artificial intelligence to help you find solution. But it's not only about public transportation, as we discussed, the smart waste management, smart infrastructure control, for example, for water pipelines. You can identify losses, and you can do dynamic plan for maintaining or for expanding your infrastructure in many ways. We can talk about roads or water pipeline or whatever. If you see that actually people are in need for something, and you can detect that, actually you can prioritize some projects and optimize budget and time and other resources engagement for this achievement. So do you see any potential application from your ideas actually for this kind of technologies or different kind of context except of delivery? Because your idea is great, your application is great, so I'm pretty sure that you see some potential to expand or also on something other than not only delivery.
Yeah, so it's not only delivery. So basically, multimodal transport requires this kind of information. So basically, the real data transfer is most important, as you said already. The latency needs to be low, and of course that's the idea. In order to make any kind of hardware products which will directly communicate with the IoTs, which will give them a perfect real-time access to the data in order to make a right decisions, because the right decision is most important these days. There are many applicable applications. We have started with logistics, but that can be extended in e-commerce itself, that can extend with the mobility of the people, that can extend in different areas. And the idea is that we are already trying or preparing ourselves to use most of these technologies, especially AI is very important, because for our matchmaking algorithm, it's extremely important to have available data or relevant data in order to find the perfect driver or deliverer who can deliver items in a short period of time. Also, we are building our hardware, as I already mentioned, and I think that will help enormously in order to advancing towards the droids or drones, which is infrastructure which is very different from this, because it's requirement governmental, so it needs to be regulated somehow, because the drones is very unique way of delivering parcels in terms, because they're huge problem if it's a huge volume, or it's a problem if you're trying to fly over the city, which is one of the security reasons or insurance reasons. So the problem why drone industries haven't achieved more in commercial way is because the insurance industry still are not seeing a viable model of insuring the drones, because if something happens, who is responsible? The operator or the drone? Someone who doesn't have ID. So basically it's impossible. Yeah, so we will work in many different areas, because we are now just opening like the box of ideas, and once we have enough data, we have now enough data, but once you have enormous amount of data, you can find correlations between them. You can find a way how to optimize other industries which are directly correlated with the transportation or the mobility we are trying to solve. I think that Southeast Europe, it's take at least 10 years from now to make additional advances, because as I said, the biggest problem is that access to capital in the early stages, where the people will try and error things, because that's the only way how you can innovate. That's my point.
Thank you very much. And actually, I suggest that we conclude our discussion and at this point. I think that we have a few important takeaways from here. First thing, I think that smart cities are a great opportunity for entrepreneurial action, and you are amazing proof for that. And you have a very clear and great vision how to engage modern technologies to improve, deliver, and total experience of urban living. Because I personally have a lot of issues with delivery, because I'm never at home. Usually not in the country, and that's the problem. Sometimes I lose my deliveries because of that, and after 5 days, post send it back to sender, and etc. But there are a lot of opportunities. For the end of story, I would like just to remind all of us that smart society is not only about smart cities. I want to remind all of us that smart villages are also great opportunity, because smart cities becomes the topic, fire topic, because accelerated urbanization, because people don't want to stay in the rural areas, but actually rural areas is something what we need because of agriculture, and of course we always need food. There is no way to produce food in an efficient way in urban areas, and that's very clear, especially in megapolis and very big cities, multi-million cities. To keep people there in the rural areas, we also need to think about how to bring urban services remotely to villages, like, for example, remote doctors, remote education, etc. That means that we need to build the infrastructure to bring internet there. Universal access is also one of most important policies from United Nations globally, to enable actually internet everywhere. Even if we have just few users somewhere, we need to find a way to fund these projects to bring internet there. So smart society is not only about technology, it's about us to be ethical, and you actually underline that point that we need to be very careful about. There is always potential for misuse, and of course we need policies, regulation to actually educate people how to use smart technologies, that we actually, all of us together, can reach something what we name smart society in the 21st century. So, David, thank you very much for this fruitful discussion. And I'm giving the mic role to Helena and Sandra for closing this amazing event. And David, thank you very much once more.
Thank you, dude. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexander. Thank you, everyone. So with Helena, we decided she opened the event and I'm going to close it, and which makes it much easier for me because after hearing all of you and your conclusion, Alexander, it's very much hard to add many things to it. Just as a wrap up, even though we started off a collaboration of the academia, entrepreneurship with innovators, and then we continued with smart city, smart society, this is very much connected because, as you said, Alexander, you know, smart city is not only about smart technology and also the smart finance, or let's say the lack of smart finance. It's about people. It's creating people who will do these smart investments. So we need to use these challenging times, as we know that every challenging time creates new opportunities. That we develop and innovate more. I've been to Israel last week, and actually the challenges that they had made them being one of the Silicon Valleys, the first Silicon Valleys in the world. So let's use these challenges and create smart societies. So thank you everyone for joining today, and wish you fruitful other events of this investments week. Thank you everyone.